Lesson 86. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Repeat after me. It is senseless for me to search wildly about for salvation. It is senseless for me to search wildly about for salvation. I have seen it in many people and in many things. But when I reached for it, it was not there. But when I reached for it, it was not there. I was mistaken about where it is. I was mistaken about where it is. And I was mistaken about what it is. I will undertake no more idle seeking. I will undertake no more idle seeking. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Only God's plan for salvation will work. And I will rejoice, because His plan can never fail. I will rejoice because His plan can never fail. If anything arises during the day or now, say, God's plan for salvation will save me from my perception of this. Perception of this. Think of another challenge in your life. This is no exception in God's plan for my salvation. This is no exception in God's plan for my salvation. And one more. Let me perceive this only in the light of God's plan for salvation. Let me perceive this only in the light of God's plan for salvation. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Holding grievances is an attempt to prove that God's plan for salvation will not work. Holding grievances is an attempt to prove that God's plan for salvation will not work. Yet His only plan will work. By holding grievances, I am therefore excluding my only hope of salvation from my awareness. By holding grievances, I am therefore excluding my only hope of salvation from I would no longer defeat my own best interests in this insane way. I will no longer defeat my own best interests in this insane way. I would accept God's plan for salvation and be happy. Any specific applications for upcoming drama? I'm choosing between misperception and salvation as I look on this. I'm choosing between misperception and salvation as I look on this. Think of another challenge in your life and say, if I see grounds for grievance in this, I will not see the grounds for my salvation. If I see grounds for grievance in this, I will not see the grounds for my salvation. And then one more issue. And then say, this calls for salvation, not attack. This calls for salvation, not attack. 71. Only God's plan for salvation will work. 72. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation.